After the success of the North London derby, Arsenal had it all to do if they wanted to get themselves back into the title race, first starting off with Aston Villa. We're going to be covering all the goings on in this game between Arsenal and Aston Villa. It did end up in a 2-2 draw. Disappointing from an Arsenal perspective. First, we're going to go through the lineups. For Arsenal, we were met with the news that Saliba would be out of this game. Very disappointing. He did pick up an injury late on in the game against Tottenham. He is one of the most important players in the Arsenal team, no doubt about it, and his partnership with Gabriel is second to none. The change that was made by Arteta was to put Timber in at right centre back, move Partey to right back, and bring in Moreno into the team as well. From an Aston Villa standpoint, a very strong team, as we know. Watkins starting up top, Yuri Tillemans just behind Rogers, and Ramsey on the wings, Kamara and Onana just behind Tillemans, Cash and Mattison in the fullback positions, and Konza and Mings at centre back with Emi Martinez, the former Arsenal goalkeeper, in between the sticks for Aston Villa. So again, a lot to digest when it came to the Arsenal lineup, especially with Saliba missing. He's been ever present in majority of Arsenal's games. Whenever Arsenal have missed him, they've missed him quite dearly. The issue that I have of I would say, is Partey at right back, and fundamentally it works to a degree. However, I don't think Arsenal are praying that they're optimal with him at right back. I still feel that him in the midfield, Timber at right back, and potentially playing Kivior at centre back would have been a option. However, any of those options at this moment in time are quite flawed because again, Kivior, how would Kivior deal with the physicality of a Watkins or a Ramsey or a Rogers, for example? He wouldn't. Timber is much better suited to playing in that position. But another argument I had is playing Rice in at centre back. He's got a basis of playing at centre back early on in his career. He has all of the skills and ability to do that. Play him at centre back next to Gabriel. Puts Partey into the midfield. Timber can go at right back. Moreno, Partey, and Odegaard in the midfield. That to me sounds a lot stronger. But again, Arsenal, this is a good enough team that should win the game, and they played in the main well enough to win the game, but individual errors will stop you from doing so. So we'll go through the game very quickly, covering it up in its main parts. Firstly, starting off with Arsenal actually, being very, very good in the beginning of the game. Aston Villa were there in the game, however, they weren't overly threatening. Arsenal had majority of the ball. Were looking for openings. They do struggle against teams who play this lower block, mid block style, looking to get out on the counter. And Aston Villa were looking for opportunities to do that. Arsenal did snuff out those opportunities quite rapidly. They did get the opening goal through Martinelli, who I think did have one of his best performances on the right wing. If I'm being honest with you, I have been quite dismissive of him on the right wing. I don't think he's played really well there, but in this game he did. Trossard with a great ball across. He finds Martinelli, who was able to get the ball, strike it, and the ball just about crossed the line, beating Emi Martinez and getting Arsenal the 1-0 lead. And you know what we've said about game states already, guys. If Arsenal can get up in a game early, then that gives them all the opportunity to win the game. 1-0 up against Aston Villa, who they have struggled with in a number of occasions. If we look at their head-to-head record against Aston Villa, you can see in the last game that we played at home, we did lose to them. We did beat them earlier in the season 2-0, but they've had a number of decent days against us as of recent. And so 1-0 up against Aston Villa was a really good scoreline for us. Arsenal looked to push on past that and we're creating a number of opportunities. They weren't groundbreaking opportunities, and I wouldn't say they were the most clear cut chances ever, but they were making opportunities and trying to find an opening, and they were dominating the game. As you can see from the goal onwards, Arsenal were in complete control past half time, and they got the second goal again. Brilliant work from Trossard, who had 2 assists in the game. Brilliant work down that left to find Kai Havertz, who put the ball in very, very smartly. And this was a great game by Trossard, who showed his quality when we needed him to show his quality. 2 assists from the left, finding both Kai Havertz and Martinelli and setting them both up is a success in itself. Kai Havertz finds himself on the score sheet once again. He needed it. His confidence needed it. Very smart finish, and that's where he needs to be, in the box, finishing off chances that are provided for him. He hasn't done that as of lately. Sometimes Arsenal have a problem creating chances. More often than not, it is finishing their chances, and it seemed like they had got over that this game, finishing their chances. But what they have not got over is individual errors, and individual errors against a team like Aston Villa can't be accepted. Within 5 minutes of getting the second goal, Tillemans was able to get Aston Villa back into the game with a diving header. Smart bit of play from him, poor bit of defensive play by Arsenal. Firstly, not getting out to the cross quick enough. Party can be, deemed liable for that. However, my blame for this goes to Mikel Moreno. He's there with Yuri Tillemans one on one, doesn't do his job in my opinion. Lets Yuri get ahead of him and beats him for a diving header. This is someone who we've been told is, amazing at duels and one of the best at duels. That's one of his unique selling points. Wasn't good enough. For you to be beat by Yuri Tillemans in a duel right inside our box isn't good enough. Again, poor from Arsenal. And it was compounded 8 minutes later. Again, poor defensive play by Arsenal. Don't clear their lines properly from a free kick. And as a result, Watkins is at the back post completely unmarked and finishes to make it 2-2. Who was meant to be marking him? Thomas Partey. Complete lapse of concentration from him. Again, I do think in the main, us losing the game wasn't because he was playing at right back. Us losing the game is because we had individual defensive mistakes. We could have set ourselves up potentially a little bit better. My opinion is when we went 2-1 down, you had a spell and a period of time where momentum was swinging away from Arsenal. If you look here very briefly, from the time that Aston Villa scored their first goal to the time they scored the second goal, there was a period of 8 minutes. I think that's where you change your structure. I think that's where you change your shape. I think that's where you move party. You have to make some kind of change. And I don't think Mikel Arteta was as proactive as he should have been. It may lead to, his belief in his team and his system. However, going 2-0 up at home and then going back to 2-2 to me is unacceptable. And that's the reason why, looking at Arsenal and where they are in the table now, drawing another game, dropping more points, the eighth draw, one of the highest in the top half of the table, only being bested by Fulham and Brighton. You can't have them being on course for any title. It's just not on. You can't keep dropping points at home. They've done it against Brighton with the red card. They've done it here against Aston Villa, individual mistakes. They've dropped so many points. And so in the pursuit of a title, when you're going up against a team like Liverpool, and that brings us quickly into the Liverpool game, because this is championship mentality, in my opinion. It was a very difficult game. We know Brentford away from home is such a difficult game, and they've only lost to two teams this season, the number two team in the country, which is Arsenal, and the number three team, which is Nottingham Forest. Would Liverpool find a way? And they did. Yes, they did. Quick overview of the team. We had Diaz up front, Szoboszlai just behind, Gakpo and Salah on the wings, Trent and Timikas in the fullback positions, Gravenberch and McAllister in the CM positions, Kanate and Van Dijk in the centre back positions. Again, Brentford, we know how dangerous they are, and what a game it was, to be honest with you. On a knife point for the majority of it. Liverpool knew they were in for a tough game. Liverpool worked their way throughout the game and improved as the game went on. They were struggling to find a way through. Liverpool improved as the game went on, but they were struggling to find a way through. It was met with the constant threat of a counter from Brentford as well. And Bremo had a number of opportunities to cause Liverpool fans and Liverpool a lot of pain. Those opportunities weren't taken. Liverpool kept themselves in the game, but the domination was there. They were really active at trying to find a way through. Was it easy? No. Did they keep pushing on? Yes, they did. Nunez with two 90-minute goals. First one was assisted by Trent. He tries to whip in the ball first time, doesn't get it in, quickly responds with a quick pass, finds Nunez, he finds the ball in the back of the net. The second one is a quick counter attack. Brentford were all over the place after that first goal. Their resistance had been broken. Nunez takes the plaudits. Liverpool showed their quality and showed their mettle, and they showed it at times last season, weren't able to push through and pass the line, but the competition and the level and ferocity of the competition doesn't seem to be the same, but they seem to have met and risen up to expectations. This game was no different. As mentioned, Nunez with the two goals deserves all of his accolades. I also give a shout out to Trent. If I'm being honest, he received a lot of stick when it seemed that he was, in line to be moving away at the end of the season, whether he is or whether he isn't. Great work to break the deadlock. And it was quick reactions from the boy. Honestly, I've got to give Trent his accolades for that. The first pass, if he had found his way through, probably would have been an assist, but he responds quickly for the second one. And he is a game changer. He is a game breaker. That is another one for Liverpool who can do damage for two teams. And you know when you're playing Liverpool that you've got to fight to the absolute end. As the game went on, Brentford were losing more and more control. You could see it; they were being pulled wide open. But again, you've got to give them a lot of credit for their fight and putting up a good show against a tough team. Standout players from their side, Lewis Potter was really good. Bremo should have taken more of his opportunities, if I'm being honest. Norgard was really good in the midfield as well. However, the quality and the fight and the hunger showed. I spoke about Liverpool previously, champions elect potentially. They look on course as being one of the best teams. Only lost one game, and Arsenal have only lost two, but the difference is in the draws. If Arsenal could have converted 3 or 4 of those draws into wins, you're looking at a different game entirely, but that is not the case. And the difference as well, looking at the two teams and their statistics as well, is mainly in the attack. Arsenal don't seem to be able to keep up with the attacking ability of a Liverpool, and it doesn't seem like anyone else in the league can. What a game this was. What a Saturday. It will be interesting to see how teams will reflect on this. However, Liverpool and Liverpool fans must be happy with this result and how this day has played out. Arsenal will have to bounce back and see how they will progress. However, the dreams of a title seem far-fetched, if I'm being honest. Guys, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. I'll be back again, and I'll catch you soon. Peace.